Trump media just signed a massive $6.4 billion deal with Yorkville Acquisition Corporation and Crypto.com, the crypto platform that's trusted by millions of users worldwide. They're teaming up to acquire up to $6.4 billion in CRO to establish America's first publicly traded CRO treasury, Trump Media Group CRO strategy. Once complete, this new company will be the largest publicly traded CRO holder out there. So if you're ready to join the crypto revolution, head to crypto.com today and be part of this historic move. That's crypto.com. Don't wait. For more information on the proposed business combination, check out Yorkville Acquisition Corporation's public filings. All right, let's get you updated on the day's headlines. We appreciate you being here with us for this news break. I'm Terrence Bates. Airports across the country are starting to get more and more crowded as travelers make their way to their Thanksgiving locations. The day before Thanksgiving is traditionally one of the busiest travel days of the year. AAA estimates that nearly 82 million Americans will travel this Thanksgiving holiday, while 73 million will travel by car, about 6 million will fly. Extending Obamacare subsidies continues to be a thorn in the president's side and a challenge for congressional Republicans who are seeking to change this issue leading up to the January 30th government funding deadline. On Tuesday, President Trump said that he prefers not to extend the Affordable Care Act subsidies. However, the White House is reportedly preparing a 2-year extension as millions of Americans face the prospect of major premium increases if and when those subsidies do expire at the end of this year. And the holiday season is in full swing at the White House as President Trump pardoned Gobble, the turkey at the White House on Tuesday. A second turkey named Waddle was also pardoned, but as you can see, didn't make it here to the White House for this celebration of the pardonings. The pardons are tradition for U.S. presidents and date back decades. President Trump and the First Lady, by the way, spending the holiday season in Florida. They're at Mar-a-Lago as we speak and are set to return on Sunday. That's a quick check of your headlines. I'm Terrence Bates.
This movement will not be silenced. You're listening to The Charlie Kirk Show.
All right. I am so grateful this Thanksgiving season for some of our partners, and one of which is definitely Patriot Mobile, another partner that's stuck with this show in our darkest hour, and they happen to be amazing, amazing people, and patriots, as the name would infer. PatriotMobile.com/Charlie, or call them at 972-PATRIOT today. They are standing up for the truth. There's only one of the mobile providers out there that shares your values, shares your Christian conservative values, and they also work with all three of the main wireless carriers, so you can have access to the same great coverage and service that you're accustomed to, or get two on your phone with the dual SIM. So you got to check them out. Glenn and the team are genuinely good humans. You can trust them. They have an all U.S.-based support team, so you can make the switch today within minutes. Keep your number, keep your phone, or upgrade. You don't have to just take my word for it. You can go on their line, ask the hundreds of thousands of people, Americans, who've made the switch. Patriot Mobile, 972-PATRIOT today. Call them or go to patriotmobile.com/Charlie. They are legitimately the best. Use promo code Charlie for a free month of service. That is patriotmobile.com/Charlie. Make the switch today. All right, we have to address something here.
Yeah, we get this just came in hot from the very top. So we'll get to the Thanksgiving part in a moment, but we're both very big fans of Erica Kirk, and she wanted us to talk about something that has just bubbled up.
Well, I actually commented on it last night, I have to say. So this is not new to me. Let's go ahead and play cut 258. This is Joy Reid pushing the deranged conspiracy theory. It is deranged that JD Vance is going to leave his wife, Usha, second lady, for Erica. 258.
They can't have the successor to MAGA be the guy with the brown Hindu wife. They're also Christian nationalists. That ain't gonna work. That's why he's throwing his wife under the bus. Poor Usha. Or she's in on it, right?
And she's playing slap and tickle with Erica Kirk. So where does I've ever seen.
Yeah,
she's like in her Tammy Faye era.
Okay, holding on the back of his head and rubbing on his head.
Some weird.
Don't do that to Jason. I'm gonna start thinking something's going on. Why you holding the back of his head? I'm like, you not doing that right thing. You're supposed to be a widow. You in leather pants.
It is.
That's not widow wear.
Could you imagine if?
Wouldn't it be the most perfect fairy tale, MAGA fairy tale?
Yeah.
If he finally sees the light that he needs a white queen instead of this brown Hindu.
Ugh, golly, rubbing on his head,
She's
you in that
really,
leather pants.
I'm annoyed. I'm a little bit annoyed that when we had the Megyn Kelly thing last week, and they were praising her because she was a little anti-trans. It's just like I remember warning you. This is a disgusting woman. She's going to say something very disgusting very soon. How soon it was.
Yeah. So I think what's really sick about this, and I'll tell you, is that these are 3 deranged, likely postmenopausal women that are flippantly turning a moment of shared grief where JD Vance, the vice president, goes out of his way to honor his friend Charlie by traveling halfway across the country to talk to students at a Turning Point USA event. And he greets Erica, who just had watched this truly emotional video that the team put together, a tribute from Charlie actually to Erica, about Charlie talking about his wife. And JD leans in, and Erica will tell the story, but it says he'd be so proud of you. And they hug. It's a moment of shared grief, and they turned it into some sexualized liberal fever dream where they're projecting their own grossness and their own racism towards Usha onto really good people. And I find that disgusting. And by the way, like, it is a true insight into the spiritual core of the left.
Yeah, for sure. But she did want us to play this. So this was Erica with Megyn Kelly last weekend. Let's play explaining this. 266.
For those of you who know me, I hug is
yes,
like,
you're an intense hugger.
Whoever
it's awesome.
is like hating on a hug needs a hug themselves. I will give you a free hug anytime you want a hug. My love language is touch, if you will. But seriously, that hug. So I will give you a play-by-play. Walking. They just played the emotional video. I'm walking over. He's walking over. I'm starting to cry. He says he's so proud of you, and I say, God bless you, and I touch the back of his head. Anyone who I've hugged that I have touched the back of your head when I hug you, I always say, God bless you. That's just me. If you want to take that out of context, go right ahead. Again, that to me shows that you need a hug more than anyone else.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, she says, God bless you. And it was actually a really beautiful, touching moment between two friends. And just want to reiterate, so much gratitude and thanksgiving for Vice President JD Vance and Second Lady Usha, who have stood by Erica in this moment of tremendous grief and sorrow. And she's grateful. We all are grateful for the way that JD Vance has provided such incredible leadership. I mean, statesmanship. Not only was this a tremendous loss to Erica, but this was a tremendous loss to the entire country. And JD Vance rose to the occasion in more ways than one. But just think about this. This is what's so gross about this moment, is that it's the sneering and the derision and the jeering at the suffering of a widow just because her slain husband happened to be conservative. And they think they have the right to completely smear this moment and Erica more directly. I find it tremendously disgusting. We're talking like 70 days away from her going through the unthinkable, and this is their reaction.
That would be their reaction. It was their reaction if you looked online the week after. They're fundamentally gross people, fundamentally disgusting. They are, let's be frank, Joy Reid is as hideous on the inside as on the outside.
Well said. Well, I think we dealt with that sufficiently. We've been promising it, Blake. Mm-hmm. Okay, so there's a lot of talk about the fracturing on the right. I would say that the enthusiasm has waned in moments, and I think it's important that we refocus and we say, what are we thankful for? Because actually, there's a lot to be thankful for. You do not have President Kamala Harris.
Yeah, and it's especially important. We talked about this a good amount yesterday. We talked about it on Thought Crime as well, that Charlie And Charlie and the early Americans both believed it was especially important to express thanks in adversity, in difficulty. And there's no adversity like what we've had in these past 3 months. And there's also a lot of adversity on the country. And as you say, the movement fracturing apart. There's people who are upset about one thing or another. There's almost a bad vibe over the country where people have decided to fixate on things they are unhappy about rather than things they are happy about. And this can easily just become a self-perpetuating cycle.
100% right.
And so we wanted to tag, we wanted to reframe things. We wanted to focus on, this is the end of the year, what are the things you should be grateful for? And there are a lot of them, both personally, and there are a lot of them nationally on the political level. When Charlie was talking at the end of, in his Thanksgiving message last year, Charlie says, God has shown mercy upon our country. And we've seen that mercy actually manifest. It wasn't just a hopeful thing. We've seen one of the things we should never forget to talk about. We had a year ago, we had a complete wide open border with the entire third world. We had a de facto traitor, Alejandro Mayorkas, running the show, letting in gangsters from China, possible terrorists from Central Africa, everyone coming in. And overnight, close the door. President Trump closed the door. We don't have an open border anymore. We have a real border. And it happened so instantaneously and so totally that people allow themselves to forget that it happened. And instead, this is the sort of, it's the grievance mindset. It's the mindset of, I'm mad there are not enough deportations happening quickly enough. We agree. We would like more deportations. We would like faster deportations. And yet, we're attempting to do them. We actually have the arrests happening. We have deportations being made. We have this multi-billion-dollar ICE hiring expansion to accelerate it in the following year. We should be thankful for those things. We should be thankful for a ceasefire in the Israel-Gaza war and the other ceasefires that have happened, for the progress towards a ceasefire in the Russia-Ukraine war, the deadliest war in Europe in nearly a century.
Well, I totally agree. And, this is the conundrum that the administration faces, right? Where they get peace in the Middle East, something everybody wanted, but then instantly, you see the chatter. And by the way, I've contributed to this, and I make, I make no apologies for it. But, then it's sort of like domestic front is not getting enough attention, which is true. Nevertheless, it's a heck of a job being the president of the United States. I want to call out attention to one other thing that we're thankful for. We talked about it before the show, Blake. And, you can be kind of a hard grader, and I like that about you. But one of the things that you gave the president and this administration really high marks on was some of the changes within the hiring policies of the executive branch. And so go ahead and explain that.
100%. They came in, they actually... Do we have right-wing revolution around? There's one back there.
Yeah.
There's that sort of fantasy scene, because it was written before Trump came back into office, where it's describing a possible day one of the administration with this cascade of executive orders. And that's pretty much what the admin did in real life. Trump said, bring me pieces of paper to sign. And some of those he signed. He repealed orders going all the way back to LBJ that mandated DEI, they didn't call it that at the time, but mandated DEI, affirmative action, all of these race-based, sex-based, discrimination-based quotas for how you do things and imposing them on contractors, on the private sector. And he sweeps these things away. He goes to these universities that have just gotten unlimited money from the American people for decades, without question. And he goes to Columbia, he goes to Penn, and he says, you guys are doing anti-American stuff. You're allowing crazy students to harass people because they're Jewish or they're white or whatever. And you're not allowed to do that. You actually have to change your admissions so they're fair. Otherwise, and you have to have other rules to make sure there's no harassment. Otherwise, we're cutting off the money. There was a news story just the other day. Columbia's worried Trump will cut off their supply of international students, so they're looking to expand their undergraduate class of mostly domestic admits up to 20%.
Wow.
So more actual Americans might get to go to Columbia. They might get to have access to one of the greatest universities in America for Americans.
Yeah.
And
that's well said. I didn't
so many
see that
little
story. That's
things
amazing.
too. He got rid of those dumb Biden era names on all of our military bases, where they went to Fort Bragg.
Hey,
the fort that trained the men who won World War II. And Biden says, yeah, get rid of that name and call it Fort Liberty.
I'm grateful for Pete
it's
Hegseth.
Fort Bragg.
And by the way, I'm grateful that Charlie fought for Pete Hegseth as hard as he did, because we got rid of all of these woke standards. We got rid of now we have gender neutral combat standards. Got rid of all the the furries and the LGBTQ poem readings and all this stuff out of the mill. I'm very grateful for that because my brother serves, and he said it's been like night and day.
If you look issue after issue, there's so much progress compared to a year ago, and we'll continue this. You have to look at where the progress has been made. We'll be right back.